Unpopular Celebrities podcast is all unofficial. None of the conversations or comments from us or guests represents DOD or the armed forces.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are Tonight's Entertainment.
The director of the Security Forces Career Field, Brigadier General Thomas Sherman.
Really appreciate it. It has been a real honor for me to be on Unpopular Celebrities today. I have truly I love watching from the sidelines. I love jumping in, periodically to kind of incognito, listen to what's going on and stuff like that. But I think that what you're doing is like this kind of dialogue. This is important.
Today we have the dynamic, I call her sister in arms. She's a mother. She is also a survivor.
Thank you all for having us on here and doing everything that you do for us. This is the rawest I've been able to be in 13 years. I love it. It's time for it.
So I'm Henry Edwards.
Chris Rogers. I'm currently serving as the 19th Air Force Command Chief.
Jessica Blair. Joe Bass here. Excited to be with the Unpopular Celebrities.
I'm Tish, and a lot of people call me PJ, founder of Life as a Military Child.
Andy Gilbert. I'm Siemens by trade, but I'm everybody's Cameron.
Christy Wiener, and I'm an aviation resource manager by trade. I am just like Andy, and I'm a people leader. You don't have to be an airman, but let's just go.
My name is Caitlin Jones-Martin, and I'm a Master Sergeant in the Air Force.
Paul Mendoza, 5th degree Master Black Belt in Shotokan Karate, 3rd degree Black Belt in Gracie Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Staff Sergeant Gary and Donald, all Air Force basketball legends.
The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
What up?
That's not my, I might have to change the intro. I don't like the intro no more, so intro's changing.
I don't need to. Yeah, I don't need to.
You freaking hater.
I'm just thinking you. I'm just saying. Look at you, so defensive.
Yeah, what's up, Dale?
What up?
I got something for y'all.
I can't sleep at night. I toss and turn, listen for the telephone.
Viewers.
Bro, we don't need to hear all that right now, man.
All right.
What's up, Chad? What's going on, bro? I see you in the chat, baby.
Please don't say nothing about the t-shirt. Let it come in, Chad. No.
Go get this man his t-shirt, bro.
They're coming. Hey, real quick, as we get into business, Unpopular Celebrities has a sponsor for the episode.
Hey.
I need you to do all the sound applause because I ain't got it. So
good, thank God.
Yeah, you're the sound man. Hey, sponsor for today's episode. Chief, when the last time you took a vacation?
Bro, it's been forever, man. It's like I want to take a vacation, but it's so hard to book it. I don't know the first thing about booking a vacation.
So check this out. Dale, when the last time you been on a cruise?
I've never been on a cruise.
Look, hey,
I've never been on a cruise.
Hey, that's crazy because our sponsor for today is Valor Vacations. Valor Vacations will help you plan your cruise if you need to get on a cruise. All you guys need to do goes valorvacation.com. Chief, what's holding you back on doing, or I should say, Dale, what's holding you back on doing your cruise?
Just coordinating, planning where to go, where the hot spots are, where I can get guaranteed information and instant information.
Yeah. Chief, what about you got all that leave? You need to go on a vacation. I know you got all that leave. You need to go on a vacation. And it's coming to the end of the fiscal year. It's summertime. It's time to get out on vacation.
Man, that's facts, man. I got over 40 days to use or lose. But I tell you, every time I want to plan something, I just can't find an agency that I can trust that's going to take care of me and give me the right deal.
Man, so look, let me help y'all out. Valor Vacation is a veteran-owned franchise specializing in cruise and land and tour vacations. They proudly support our military friends and family and are committed to finding special rates and discounts for you. We all know Chief is about saving that dollars, even though he got plenty of it. He's about saving that loot. So they're going to help you out. Whether you're celebrating a milestone event or just want to get away with the loved ones, their team can help plan the perfect vacation tailored around your needs. They can help you out, give you in-depth knowledge, personal expertise, and strong relationship with cruise lines and tour companies. They will guide you in the best vacation options. So you need to contact them. Pay attention, get your pens and paper, write this number down, 1-855-VALOR-ME. That's 1-855-825-6763. Holla at them if you want to go on your vacation, go out there on a cruise, get your toes out in the sand and get right, get your mind right, reset, go back to the war fighting capabilities that we need to be for our military personnel.
Shout out to Valor Vacations.
Shout out Miss Sandy at Valor Vacations. Go hit her up. Hey, great support, great veteran supporters. Go ahead and hit them up. Get your vacation right. Valor Vacations.
Do it now.
He sent you.
For sure. UPC sent you. All right. Let's get to our special guest. Special guest today. I've been told not to call him Chief, and it's so hard not to, but as I just did. But we got the one and only famous on a celebrity on Unpopular Celebrity, Todd Simmons. I got the yeah,
Pete. You see how I'm looking at you, right? I hope you remember that face, right? You remember that face.
Right.
I'm trying to get better at this. I'm trying to get better. DC, you might need maintenance. Just plan and go. What does that mean?
Huh? Oh.
That means take some time off. That means, hey, bro, 40 days of use or lose is super bad example.
Super bad example.
Don't hear from me. Don't be trying to jump on me now. I'm guilty. Guilty as charged.
Let's go, Chief Hemingway. What's going on? How are you? Chief Todd. This is gonna be hard. Todd, what's the word? How are you?
Hey, everything's good, man. I'm excited to be here with y'all. I know we've been texting back and forth, man, but I'm happy to see, first of all, being, not being biased, but being biased. 3 defenders, get to talk to 3 defenders.
Oh.
2 of them that I've seen, and Dale, I think we've met before somewhere, but these other 2 knuckleheads, man, I don't know how they convince you of what they're paying you to be on here. I'm sure it's not enough. I mean, but man, I got some dirt on both of you cats, man. I know these dudes. These are day one. I know some day one dirt on these dudes. So I will tell you that.
Just 2, 1 for each. Drop us some tea. Give us 1 for each time.
No,
I don't know. So I'll just tell you, Dale, go out and get some reputation insurance, man. We don't know. You just don't know when it's going to drop.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
All my lawyers are on and they're watching right now. I got my phone up, so if I disappear from the screen, that's because they told me stop. Don't say that.
Hey, 40 days use or lose.
That fight in Dakota wasn't my fault. Fair thing. That wasn't my fault.
I wasn't gonna bring it up.
And it wasn't about Madden. It wasn't about Madden. But
it was about Madden. It was about Madden.
No, it wasn't.
Dale, have you ever been so mad that you want to throw somebody off the 7th floor out the window? Has anybody made you that mad?
But not a human being.
Yeah. Well, some people are different. Some people are different. But no, we got Todd Simmons on here. If you got some questions, put them in there. But we got our questions as well as we go through this show. Hopefully, it doesn't say no dirt on us. But we're talking about transition, getting out the military. Everybody's gonna have to get out the military for all our military members on here, or start a new chapter in their life. And we got the expert pro in transition, because I think the first thing is there's a lot of people who are, I don't know if scared is the right word, fearful about transitioning out or what might come up. I know you were there. What was your fear level like when you were transitioning, or how early did you get prepared?
That's two different questions. To be honest with you, fear level, I mean, I think everybody's transition is going to be different. Like we talked in the backstage, right? Everybody's path is different. Nobody, regardless if we do 4 years or 40, everybody's path is going to be different. I think what's common in that is everybody's fear is probably relatively average the same, especially if you serve a long time in the military. The longer you serve, the more probably unknown that the next chapter is going to be to you, and unfamiliar the next chapter is going to be to you, right? If you did 4 years and you came in when you're 22 and you get out at 26, it might be you have seen a little bit of work beforehand. You've seen, now you can kind of know what it is you're going back into. For people like me who was 18, came in the military and did their entire adult life in one system, and you start figuring out that it's different. So I think fear is a common thing. So all of us can, like Brene Brown, she talks about shame and fear and all these different things. I say we have to accept the fact that you're not Superman, no matter what position. DC's in a high level position. He's going to have some of the same fear as a staff sergeant that get out at 4 years. That's just it's a commonality. We're changing lives, right? So for me, when you say preparation, two-part answer to that. I accidentally prepared to leave the military since I was an A1C. And I say accidentally prepared because when I was A1C, I went for my first med board. One day I went to work, the next day I went to get a hearing exam, and the next day after that, they were med board. They put me on a med board, took my weapon for 4 months, and said that I might have to go back to Hardyville, South Carolina as an A1C with no money in my pocket. So that's the day the light bulb came on to me that the military, no matter how many times you re-enlist, is never forever, and you're never safe. You're never safe. So that's when I took my first class. So I started preparing education. That's why I say I started preparing to get out when I was the A1C. But I kept re-enlisting. But when I really started preparing to get out of the military, was 19 years in when I was at the Air Force Academy. I was thinking about retiring at 20, and I made the effort. I went to TAPS. I went and did all the things they tell you to do now that was kind of unknown. LinkedIn wasn't a thing then, really big. But I went out and I sat with the college because I wanted to teach college. So I sat with it. I made my own interns up, and I never had 40 days use or lose because I used some of my leave. I used some of my leave to go actually do my own intern. When I was in Colorado, I took about 10 days of leave and I went and worked in a criminal justice department at the university, like a skill bridge before skill bridge. I took my own leave, contacted these people, say I'm an adjunct professor, but I want to get into leadership. I did the same thing at a high school because I thought I wanted to be a high school principal. Went and met a high school principal, spent a week with him, shadowing and what they do. So I was preparing psychologically what I wanted to do, even though I served another 5.5 years. I was always prepared. So 2 answers: A1C when I was at 19.
Well, first, I thank you for the subtle dig there about the 40 days of leave. I'm trying to get myself together there. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get myself together. That's why I want to get with Sandy and her peeps and get myself together, give me a vacation schedule. But anyway, off to another subject. So you said something interesting about always preparing for yourself to get out the military at some point, like to have a plan. So what do you say to folks that remaining, like for instance, I'm at 30 years. So you have two different schools of thought. You have some people that may say, oh, you're crazy to stick around that long. You're not going to make any extra money doing it. Versus you got some people who say, well, I'm sticking around because I still enjoy the military. So that's one thing. Curious to hear your thoughts on that. And then the second thing is, what about like folks that get to a point where they get out and they feel like folks in senior level at senior tap, they tell you all the time, like being in a certain position, the ones who have the difficult time of transitioning are like your chiefs, your colonels and above. So what was it like for you? Was it difficult at first to transition being a command chief and then getting back into the civilian sector or no?
Yes. So like I said, it's going to be a level of fear, but I want to go back to the point you said, how long you serve. I am never going to give someone an answer on how long they serve. But what I do say, like if we're good friends, right? And I look at you and I know that you are not happy and fear is what's really encompassing your whole reason for staying. And yet fear that you have is actually manifesting through your leadership and it's affecting the people around you because you're just there to be there. Then I'm going to be a friend and tell you, bro, you got to go. You should go. You just here till the end because you're fearful for the end. Now, in the other hand, I'm never going to tell you because you come to me and say, and I can see it in your spirit every day that you love what you do. The money don't matter. The title don't matter. You just love, and it's infection. And now it's manifesting in your leadership and the people around you because you're making a difference. Because you still get up and you can still give 100% every day because you want to. Then I'm gonna tell you to stay till the lights go out. You know? But you have to be honest in these conversations that you have to be honest. So for me, I did 25 years, 7 months, and 11 days. I didn't do that. DD 214 verified, right? And I'll even throw what the DD 214 don't have is the 90 minutes. That
was a retirement ceremony.
90 minutes, because that was the last time I've ever been in uniform. Was that day, December the 6th, 2019. Last time I had a uniform on. But for me. Again, I'm going to keep using that word every time we talk about transition. Fear, absolutely. I ain't no hero, man. I got out the military like every person. Was I prepared? On paper? Absolutely. I've been going to school since I was a senior airman. I had 5 college degrees. I've already started my first business when I was a staff sergeant, failed, started another business when I was a tech sergeant. So I knew how to start bad businesses, right? That didn't, right? I had all the lessons of starting really bad businesses that will fail. So I knew I wanted to do something in the education space because now I've been teaching college for 17 years at night since I've been a tech sergeant. But I didn't know what that looked like, so I was scared. I moved to Washington, D.C., one of the most expensive places you can move, and then COVID hit 60 days later. So why I say I'm not no hero, I didn't get out the military with this grand plan that I was going to be a business owner and do all these things. I wanted to go get a job for someone doing something that I can find purpose in, and that was teaching doing something. Now COVID derailed all of that because my path to that was pretty secure. I was going to go teach and do some things, but COVID shut everything down. And that's when I said, you know what? I told my wife, I'm going to give me 2 years to let me start my own business. And if it fails, then I'll go be the first one to throw that suit and tie on and take the metro and go into the job and probably hate it,
Yeah.
Because my spirit wasn't telling me that I wanted to go get a job. I did 25 years in the military. I wanted to see honestly, to be honest, DC, what I wanted to do is prove myself that I was as good as the title of my book. Am I as good as they said I was? Mm-hmm. And if I'm that good for 26 straight EPRs, they told me that I was the best thing that ever entered the Earth's atmosphere. Then if I'm that good on paper, then if I could be half that good on my own, then it shouldn't be a problem. So that's when I started my own business to go, okay, well, the worst thing can happen is failure. And that's why I say I'm not no hero. What we're talking about backstage is I was financial. I mean, the military if you don't realize it till post-retirement sometime, you can be set up to do these things because, yeah, I'm a retired 25-year chief and I'm a disabled veteran. So financially, and my wife is 13, sitting at her, and my kids don't live in the house anymore.
Yeah.
And I spent 17 years overseas consecutively. So I put all that as my decision matrix of it's not finances. I can pay my mortgage, I can pay my bills, I can go on vacation, I can do things. So what's really holding me back from living? What's really holding me back from taking this plunge? Nothing was holding me back but fear. So once I took the plunge, it didn't work immediately. I made if you ever owned a business and you do a P&L sheet, which is a profit and loss sheet, my profit and loss for my first, when your profit and loss for your business for the year has a negative sign next to it, that's never a good thing. That doesn't. It can be a big number on your profit and loss. You got to look really closely to the number. It could be, oh, I made all that money. Then you see this negative sign next to it. No, that's not.
That's different.
And then right after you see that negative sign, this person called the IRS calls you and goes, "Oh, you owe less taxes." Well, I don't owe you taxes. I ain't made no money. Oh, but you made this other money because this ain't. Hey, bro, it's real out here. But long story short, man, I was fearful to get out. I made a decision that I could have stayed in 5 more years. Right, that was my choice. I didn't get forced out in the military, but I made a decision that I wanted to bet on myself. That's all. I left the military smiling. I had a great career. I can't complain. I love being a defender. I love being a command chief. I can't complain, but I got out to bet on myself. I wanted to see if I was really as good as everybody said on these EPRs that I was.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that, your book that you dropped in April about that. So since you already talked about it a little bit, what is the process on how to write a book? I know you have like 4 or 5 out. For people that do want to write a book and put their life on paper, kind of like how you did, what's that process and how do you get it published and put it on Amazon and stuff like that?
Well, I will tell you again, just like I failed at business a few times until I got it right. You won't remember the first little small book I wrote. It was not good.
It was really good. I got it right over there.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was good.
The leadership lessons. The leadership lessons.
30,
yeah,
30,
so you don't remember that one, DC. That was so you can't even buy that book anymore. I took it off.
Well, sure, I should have bought more copies.
You can't buy it anymore. So why I said that, Dell, is because something I always did. I remember deploying all the time as a cop, and I used to like, oh, I'm gonna write a book, and I used to be like, I got 7 months, I'm gonna write a book, and I'll start something, and I had no idea what I was talking about, right? And then I did that like 15 times. So when I got out, I wrote that little book, and it wasn't even supposed to be published. It was like a little pocket book that big, and it had 30 days of, and I republished it. So the new version you see is not the original version. So the original version was me kind of just putting some thoughts down. I went online and Googled, how to publish a book. And actually a friend of mine who's a retired chief, shout out to Lugo Santiago, who actually helped me because he showed me how to put that on Amazon and publish it, which I was like, man, I wish he never would have showed me that. But and then I published it, right? And to be honest with you, we actually distributed about 5,000 copies of those books before I took it down, right? So what I'm telling you is I got better each time, right? So I did that and I said, you know what, man, I'm going to go try to figure this out. So I really wrote the book I wanted to write, which is Why Not Me? Right. So what I did is I said, okay, I'm going to start from scratch. I don't know how to do this. So I went to a publisher with my story, Why Not Me, which shout out to Mascot Publishing, Amplify. Those guys were great. I went out to, I'm throwing shout outs out here. So I went to them and I really went through the 18-month process of how to publish a book. And I did that for 2 reasons. I wanted to learn everything they knew because I knew I was never going to go through that process again with them. So I went through that process, published my book, and every book after that, I did on my own. Now, what I did is I went and found out that writing a book is hard. So, and I have adult ADHD, right? So I'm all over the place. So writing a book is not even hard. writing a book is damn near impossible for me. Right? Because I can't pay attention to something for over 7 seconds. So the biggest, so I went and got a writing coach, and this is what he told me. So I'm gonna break this down so I don't take up a lot of time. I record everything on my phone. Like, I record everything. I get a book idea, and because I'm a visual person, what I do is I have a graphic designer. I'll have a book title, say my next book. So my next book is called Unbothered. That's gonna come out at the end of the year. So this is how I start the process. I haven't written a word. I know I wanted to call it Unbothered. I don't know what I want the subtitle. So I go to a graphic designer and I get the book cover made first. Because that becomes an inspiration because it's real. Yeah. And once I get the book cover that I like made, before a word is ever written, I'm going, man, that's my book. It has my name on it. This is the cover. This is the title. And then from there, from what I've went to now 6 or 7 times, I try to develop the chapters first. From the chapters, I try to go for each chapter and start writing. Now, I will tell you just today in 2024, which is a lot easier, is you have tools out there that can help you develop your thoughts. There are AI tools. There are different things that can help you. Now, don't have AI write your book, but there are tools that can help you formulate the thoughts. Because even with people's belief with AI, this is another thing. Most of you guys in the military is behind on AI. Because the military tells you guys to stay away from it a lot and don't use it. AI is already integrated into every part of our life. So just like we went from VCR tapes to DVDs, you're going to be the guy still in the neighborhood doing VCR tapes. It ain't going to have no DVDs if you don't understand the use of AI. So people have this impression that AI can do anything if you use ChatGPT. You have to know how to, it's like writing code 20 years ago. Even in AI, to effectively use tools, you have to start learning the language, what you want the output to be. So long story short, Dale, record everything. If you got an ambition to write a book today, whatever the topic is, just start recording. Whatever you write down the road, recording. You can even hire somebody to take all of those hours of recording and put it into writing for you.
Wow.
I have done that. I've had somebody take 7-8 hours of me recording, driving down DMV, and just put it in manuscript. And now once it gets in manuscript, they can even start looking at where things fit in a chronological story.
Yeah.
There are a lot of cheaper publishing houses out there. I can say cheap. That can. So long story short, you don't have to pay $25,000 to publish a book today in 2024. If anybody wants to reach out and ask me how they can publish a book for under $2,000, that's a quality book and published full. I'll give you that information. Right. So
appreciate that.
Yeah, shout out to Rochelle. She put that comment in there in the chat about, you have to customize your AI. That's so important. I think folks, when they use AI, they just haphazardly put stuff in there and get a response back and use it. Whereas, you still got to go through it and kind of tailor it to what you need. So, but no, that was good stuff, Todd. Pete, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So we talked about the book. We talked about transition. I want to get a crazy question. So everybody knows about the Tom Brady roast that happened on Netflix. If y'all didn't see it, to me, it's hilarious. I want to know, Todd Simmons, would you get roasted? Not on this show. We're not doing this show. But would you sign up to get roasted? How much would they have to pay you?
Well, first and foremost, if they did it today, would I sign up today at 48 years old when I still hopefully got a lot of life to live? No, you would have to give me 20 years. Now, would I sign up for a roast when I'm 75? Absolutely, go for it. But man, I mean, roasts have been around for 50, 60, since the 50s. They, whatever they've been doing roast. That wasn't a roast, man. I don't know what that was. I was waiting on some hands to get thrown. I was waiting on something to happen because I was. I didn't want, man, I was watching. I haven't watched the whole thing, right? And I went back and I didn't have time, 3 hours to watch the roast. No. And I went back and watched some clips, right? After about an hour of it. There were some things in there, man, that I was like, man, if someone, I mean, they went gloves off on that dude, man. And he went in too. So would I get roasted? You know, I'm an open book, man. I don't think, you know, people, I think I'm open enough to understand how I affect people in a positive and a negative way. I think I'm self-aware enough to know that, you know, someone the other day told me that I was, that I can come off, I can't even pronounce the word now, like pretty much not dismissive, but kind of aloof. And they, when they told me that, I was like, oh, absolutely. I know that I can space out in the middle of a conversation. And I know that sometimes that I can be kind of, you know, I told like I tell people all the time, tell my wife a lot, my face is my face, right? I know I have one of those faces that say a lot of things without my mouth opening. I know that about myself. So I know I've probably affected people with the impression of me, or I know I've done things that weren't probably always in favor of what people probably would have wanted to hear from me, or me to actually give them or not give them. I know that. I'm very self-aware about that. So I think I would. So I'm gonna take that back. I would today be roasted because I think it would be a great exercise in some self-awareness and some blind spots.
Yeah, I agree. I think you made it to a status. If you can, now his was a little bit, like you said, they just, it's like they went too far.
It was everybody else too. Everyone was catching straight bullets.
Stray bullets.
Yeah. You couldn't even be in the audience. I was like, man, what is going on? But
yeah, and so that's but that's why I think I would be roasted in that environment, because if I was, because Pete, if you were in the audience, you're gonna catch some.
I gotta catch them. I hope to be one of the comics roasted.
Okay.
That's what I hope that my job is.
Like, that's what I think I enjoyed more about the roast, more than a traditional one I've seen in the past, where everybody was catching. No one was safe. And it turned into, you know what I thought I reminded me of that I appreciated, because I'm a fan of hip hop, I'm a fan of comedy. We can get, you know, Pete's the worst hip hop connoisseur ever, by the way.
We get into that often.
Yeah.
We get into that very often.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I'm not even gonna get into that, but I'm a fan of comedy and hip hop. What that roast really reminded me of is the Def Comedy Jam days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, it reminded me back when comedy, like the Def Comedy Jam days, when, man, they was gloves off, man.
Yeah.
And it was just whatever, you know, it was more when we can take ourselves a little bit, because there were some things said in that Tom Brady roast that in 2024 will get a lot of people fired.
Right.
And
right.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was funny, not funny. It was different, because I would think a lot of people would get canceled from the stuff they talked about, but it seems like it actually uplifted them. Actually, like some comics I never heard of. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, who is this? And so it's kind of quite history. Chief, would you get roasted?
I don't care. I mean, that's why I was talking about what happened to your code. I really don't care. I think it's funny in a way. I mean, I think the only thing I caught from the roast with Tom Brady is they said something about his ex-wife or something like that.
That's something.
About Robert Kraft. Yeah, there was something that Robert Kraft he said too that kind of, you could tell by his facial reaction that kind of caught him off guard. Right. But I thought it was enjoyable. I wouldn't mind. Maybe for my retirement, I'll have a roast. Who knows?
Oh, perfect. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
So I just went from interested in to attending to your retirement.
It would be difficult, because most of the stuff I'll just tell people. I mean, I don't. My wife tells me not to, but I mean, I tell folks all the time. Like, I know I'm not perfect. I don't care, you know. But yeah, maybe for the retirement.
Now it's a little. So I'll even touch on that. Like, you know, why I wrote that first book, Why Not Me, is because I wanted to put, you know, of course, it's not 100% of everything, because some things you still work through. I tell people, you know, trauma, everybody lives with trauma, and trauma will be your lifetime, you know, baggage that you carry, and it depends, right? But for me, I wanted to write that book out of the gate, because I said a lot of stuff about myself in that book. I put it out there, man, and it wasn't stuff that I didn't say when I was in uniform, but it wasn't everything I said in uniform. Like, you know, you can take some inferences from things that I said in that book, but man, I I think it's freeing, man, when you can live that free truth. Like you said, you can be yourself. And I'll shoot a shout out to DC, man. Something I always admired about you. Like, you know, I said, I've known these cats, Dell, since a long time. I've known DC when he was a staff sergeant in the Air Force, right?
Oh.
And which was like in the 80s, you know. So
the roast just started. The roast just started. Yeah.
So I would tell you, man, one thing I can say about DC, man, we didn't serve together a lot since, you know, Yokota, but we've always run each other. One thing I can say about that dude over decades is he's the same dude. And something that I've always admired about him is, and honestly, not only I admired, sometimes I was just in awe of, like, how the hell did he do that? Like, because he has stayed the same dude, DC, Philly to the 100. And this dude has achieved some pretty remarkable things in his career. So when I say there's no one path, and I tell, especially, and I'll just put it out there, when I talk to young black men, and I said, we're all, you know, Pete's from Modesto, California. I don't even know what that's.
Yes, sir. We a little pimple in California, just a little pimple somewhere.
I say, you know, one thing when you join the military, even though we all, you know, when I met other African-American men, we might look the same. My first roommate from Brooklyn, New York. I'm from a small town in South Carolina. We might as well be from Saturn and Pluto, right? From a cultural standpoint, right? This is the early 90s. I'm listening to Master P. He listening to Piggy, right? So, but the reality is we have to learn to accept who we are, and we have to learn to walk not only in the shoes that were given to us or that we put on. We have to learn that their shoes are going to grow as we get older, and that we can have growth. Even though I said DC, I believe is the same DC Philly. One thing I've heard something different is Staff Sergeant DC ain't giving the same advice that Chief DC, right?
That.
So he the same dude, he the same guy, but he don't have the same mindset. And that's what we got to understand, is that the growth has to come from a mindset perspective. You know, the growth just don't come from, oh, I'm gonna keep it real, I'm gonna keep it 100, and I'm gonna stay in the same spot. No, I can still be the same dude, but my conversation may change, and how I approach you may change, and how my outlook on how I live my life may change. But I'm still the same dude that you ain't gonna come at sideways.
And that's nuggets, because like that even goes in line with folks who get promoted, whether in the military or the civilian sector. Like my wife, she just, shout out to my battle buddy Wendy, just got a promotion in her job. And she said, like, so what should I do now that I got these folks who are my teammates I'm going to lead? Like, you need to have a conversation with them. Like, that doesn't mean you've changed. That just means you got a different mindset now. You're the same Wendy, but now you're gonna have to approach them a little bit differently, and they should do the same for you. So that's a good nugget right there.
Absolutely.
You know what, Chief? You just reminded me of something. Miss Council working really hard and everything. Shout out to Miss Dove C. Maybe she needs a vacation. maybe you need to take her on a vacation somewhere before she starts the job, get her, you know, her head straight. And you know what? Unpopular Celebrity Show is sponsored by Valor Vacations, valorvacations.com. Go ahead and look them up if you want to plan your vacations, because Valor Vacations is a veteran-owned franchise specializing in cruise and land tour vacations. They are proudly support military family and friends, and are committed to finding special rates and discounts you need. Whether you're celebrating a milestone event or just want to get away with loved ones, their team can help you plan a perfect vacation tailored to your needs. Their in-depth knowledge, professional expertise, and strong relationships with cruise lines and tour companies, they will guide you with the best vacation options. Call now. Write this number down. Get it ready to go. 54321. 1-855-VALOR-ME. That's 1-855-856763. Call up Miss Sandy. She'll hook you up with the Valor Vacations, get you those discount codes, check for price drops, and get you on your way to vacation. Get your mind right so you can lead people how you want to lead.
Hey, he did a good job.
All right, Pete. So Pete, am I starting to see a preview of what you're going to do when you retire? If it is, we got this great coaching program that you need to join.
Tell us about it. Yeah, tell us about it.
I got my RLDC RLDPC. I got it already. I'm good. Is that right? That's it.
I tell you what. All right, man.
Why you give away your stuff on the show?
What's up, Sid? What's up, bro?
Oh, look at Sid putting out there, buy some cheap jokes. buy Todd's book.
So I appreciate that, Sid. Hey, guess what? I'm gonna sing because you guys are more. I appreciate what y'all do. I watch y'all when I'm not like running and walking and trying to figure out life on Saturdays. But y'all, the fact that y'all really love the military community and y'all try to have real conversations. I was looking at the intro, having people like General Sherman on there and different folks, and you guys have had a wide array of people to kind of have a platform. So I'm gonna send you guys 10 of my latest books. Y'all can give them away. Do what you want with them. But,
yes, sir.
I'm gonna mail 10 of them. So
I appreciate that.
And you gotta give Sid Foster a shout out for that. He brought that up. So
I'll shout out to Sid Foster. Shout out to Sid Foster. This dude's retiring in June. He's still a dirtbag, but happy retirement, Sid. Yeah.
And you know what? Unpopular Celebrity is gonna buy 5 of the books, so we'll have 15. 1 for me, so 14. 1 for DC, 13. So we got 1 for Dale, 12. So we got 12 books we're gonna give out to y'all. We'll figure out how we're gonna give them out, but definitely do that because we're gonna buy 5. I'm gonna go on my Amazon right now and get those 5. So we get that. Sid, we'll get one to you as well. Even though you could buy one, but we'll give one to you. Hey, Chief, Todd, I gotta ask you. I heard Eric Thomas say before, a lot of people want to do or have what he has, but doesn't want to do what he does. And I put that in quotes to think about what you do. You travel a lot. And even though it looks good on a quick snapshot picture, tell me the grueling, how it is to travel, not only being away from family, but also just trying to get different time zones, whatever it is.
So I'll answer that, but I don't want to focus on the travel because it'll be disingenuous to entrepreneurship, right? Because I see you got Rochelle Hemingway on here, who is somebody I respect in the entrepreneurship game a lot. Like Rochelle may not travel as much as I do, but Rochelle probably work just as much, if not harder, than I do every day on building her brand, building her output, building a successful business. What I will tell you is, man, when someone tells me they want to be an entrepreneur, no, my mic ain't off. That's literally how I stay silent and look at you for a second.
I was like, wait,
okay. I have to really, because this is a thing. Entrepreneurship usually starts with a dream. And the worst thing you want to do is be condescending or dismissive of somebody's dream. So that's the first thing you got to understand. Even though I know that for me personally, I made it to a certain point, and I made it nowhere, just to a certain point where I can start actually floating in water now and enjoying it a little bit. But it took 5 years to get there, to just start treading water on the, and seeing a little bit of sunset. Even though I know that, I will never, ever tell somebody not to do it. Because the first question I'm going to ask is this your dream? Is this something you're passionate about? And the only reason I shout out Rochelle, because I know this is not about, because if it's about money for you, go get a job. Because you're probably going to have a lot of negatives on your balance sheet. Or you're going to be doing a lot of stuff for free. You're going to be grinding. You're going to be doing a lot of stuff that you promise your family that you won't be doing. I mean, I got out of the military my last job in the military was a heavy travel job. That's all I did at AU was travel. I retired from the military, and the first thing I tell my family is I'm not going to travel that much. And then I travel 6 months out of a year. So it was a necessity to get to a goal that you don't know if you're going to achieve it. But you got to believe in it, and you got to have it built into your purpose. Because if you're just chasing something for likes or chasing something for celebrity or chasing something for money, it's not going to be sustainable, because you're going to lose money, you're going to lose friends, you're going to lose likes, you're going to lose people around you, because people are going to say, oh, I don't see you no more, or oh man, this and that. You're going to have people who just don't believe in what you're doing, and that's okay. Like for me, when I tell entrepreneurs that starting out, is you have to understand that there's 3 rings of support when you start out any endeavor. There's your friends and family, and there's admirers, and then there's strangers. The best entrepreneurs start their business trying to convince strangers. The problem is we try to convince friends and family first, and then that's where things get twisted because Pete, my friend, and Pete ain't bought my book. Now I feel some type of way. To be honest with you, I don't care if Pete buy my book. To be honest with you, I want the person that literally read something they saw on LinkedIn that don't know me and ain't never met me. I just happen to be in their algorithm. I want them to buy my book. When Pete buys my book, I appreciate Pete buys my book. But I'm not setting out to market for Pete to buy my book. Because the more mindset that you get, that you're building a business beyond the people who know you, that's where success comes in a business. So when you say, what's the grind? The grind is to find strangers every day. That's what we're all trying to do. We're all grinding out here to bring a new stranger into that admirer ring. Once a stranger becomes someone who admire you, they're going to pay attention to you. They're going to tell people about you. And maybe a couple of those admirers will become friends. But I don't start from the inner ring out because I'm not hitting DC up every day going, hey, DC man, hey man, bro, you need to sign up for my coaching program. No, if DC want to sign up for my coaching program, that's up to him because he already know I got a coaching program. So I don't need to remind my friends and family of what I sell because you know what they know? They know what I sell.
Right.
I need to remind the people who don't know me what I sell. So is it a grind to answer your question? It is a grind, but don't get into anything for this this allure that's a lottery ticket. I do what I do because Pete, when you met me, I was doing this in the military. I was in college. I just flipped 17 years of a passion for teaching at a university level to doing it in a corporate level or workshop level or development level, whatever. I'm just living a passion and learning a business at the same time. That's all it is. I just took a passion and merged it with a business and hope it worked.
Right. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, what you got, man?
So, hold on real quick. I just something burning in my cranium here. So Todd, what about starting a business with friends or family?
I'm gonna go back. Is it your dream? Well, I will tell you. So we say friends and family. I don't think it really has to do. I think the rule applied to anybody. Don't start a business with anybody until you know that you are ready to marry them. The problem is that we jump into opportunities that we see as opportunities because we believe it's going to get us somewhere faster. But you don't know the character of that person. You're just going to jump into bed with somebody. I just got the biggest opportunity of my life in our 5 years of being business. The Small Business Association has this program called a mentor protege company. I can say it out loud now. Where a very large company can bring you on under them to grow your company into a very large company. It rarely happens. This company's been in business 26 years. We're the first company that they brought on, right? But I've worked with this company for 4 years. 4 years, Dana, just as a regular 1099 employee doing side work for them. It took 4 years until I got a phone call from them one day and said, hey, we want to give you this opportunity because we have seen your character. We've seen how you move. We've seen the work. But they saw it for 4 years. They didn't see that for 30 days or they just didn't see me on LinkedIn and pick up the phone and go, hey, I'm going to put my 26-year reputation on you because we saw you put a good post out. No, these people had to see me. So what I tell people, it has nothing to do with friends and family. It has to do with the fundamental human aspect of business. You better date somebody before you marry them because if you don't date them, so I always put it back like this. How many jobs, when all of y'all get out in the civilian sector, a lot of jobs have probationary periods. Even the GS sector does. And what people don't know about probationary periods is this. Why a company puts you on a 90-day or a 6-month probation is because they want to see if you're the same dude or girl that they hired 6 months from now that they hired, and we can legally say, go about your business, right? That's all that's about. That's a dating opportunity. I'm dating this person for 90 days. And then I can just come, if I give you a job and I put you on 90-day probation, 88 days in, I can come to you, DC, and say, you know what, DC, you know what? You didn't tell me you couldn't cook. You didn't tell me that, you know, like, you tell me you snore all night. You know, so you know what? I don't think we gonna work. So when we talk about, I just want to, I answered that long because I want to reframe people's mind, because I've made those mistakes. I've jumped into relationships with people in a business aspect, and that's why my balance sheet was negative, to be honest with you. I jumped into relationships thinking, oh, yeah, you said this is what it is. Let's just go. Let's roll. And to be honest with you, I'll be real. Some of those were friends. And that's why I say it doesn't matter. Take away the whole friends and family and take away and insert human. It doesn't matter who it is. You better date them. I don't care if it's your childhood friend who you've known for 40 years from round the way. I don't care if it's a person who had more financial resources than you today. I don't care. You better date that person. You better tell yourself what is an acceptable amount of time to date before you are willing to marry them. If it's a month, you cool with them. For me, my number that moved up like 6 months. Like, we can do small things together, but I'm not getting in a relationship with you until I really know you, the person who showed up 6 months ago.
Tell what you got, bro. I'm sorry.
Dropping gems. I'm gonna segue into transferable skills. So if people still have some time left in the military, what are some skills that you wish you would have obtained, or certificates? I know you're big on the PMP, but what are some skills, certificates, degrees that people could seek out before they get out that you think that would be beneficial, that people overlook sometimes?
Yeah, I would tell you, I'm not going to necessarily like push any particular certificate, because I think it's important for you to kind of start, like I said earlier, Dale, don't do nothing in life without going to figure out if that's what you want to do in life. And it's going to change periodically. Why I knew I wanted to do what I did now, because I took that time. I took that leave at 19, and I knew I wanted to be in high school leadership, or I knew I wanted to be in academia. I knew where I wanted to be. I just didn't know what it was going to look like. So if you're in 10 years, 8 or 10 years right now, this is the exploratory phase, man. Like, I started teaching college when I was a tech sergeant only because I figured I wanted to teach college, and I was horrible at it for a year. Pete was one of my students. I was good, but you know what? I had to get good, and I got better. But even though I wasn't good at it, I knew I liked it. So if you don't know what I would tell young folks today is start exploring, man. Like, start going out and exploring things. Start going, talking to people. Extend your friend and family network, because this is the thing. The reality is, and I'm not knocking like Pete or DC. I'm not like DC. Me and DC came in the same time, right? If I would have continued to serve, this would have been my 30th year in the military, right? But DC's in the military. I've been out 5 years. I'm not calling DC to ask him, even though he's a chief at a NAF level, he got all these titles and accolades. I'm not calling DC to give me business advice. I just can't now. I don't know a lot about the military that's happened in the last 5 years. So if I need to call DC about what's the military doing at the strategic level because I'm about to go talk to some people, now I'm calling DC for that, because that's where DC's at.
Right.
You have to get out of your comfort zone and start. Like, for me, biggest success happened for me in the DC area. You can pull up on Facebook or any social media right now, networking events in my area. If you want to get into cyber networking events, or you want to get into hospitality networking events. And these are networking events that's free at hotels, wherever, cocktails. Get out of your comfort zone, put on some khaki pants and a collared shirt. Go meet some people who actually can give you information that literally nobody else in your circle today can give you. So if you're interested in something, that's how you now do your self-internships. I would tell every young person, I'm not going to sell you or tell you to, I'm not even going to tell you to go to school. Because most military people, I want everybody to go to college. But a different conversation today on college versus when I was making people go to school, or I'm getting
That's true story.
But back then, I knew I was probably making a mistake I mean, today I know I was making mistakes because I was forcing Pete to get a criminal justice degree, and Pete might not want to do nothing with criminal justice. I failed to have the conversation and ask Pete, what are you passionate about today? Today, even though it may change, Pete might have told me I'm passionate about computers. But then I could have said, okay, let's sit down and look at what kind of CompTIA, some Security Plus certificates those are what you need to be going for. You need to be going for those. But I was a blanket, go to school, get this degree. So what I would tell young people today, or people who lead young people, is you got to have a conversation with what people's passion are. You got to have a conversation about what people's desires are today so you can guide them through that. Don't just say go to school. Don't just say get a PMP. Don't just say go get this certificate. Because really, the reality is I have a master's degree in criminal justice. I've taught criminal justice for 15 years. I graduated from the FBI Academy. I don't do anything in criminal justice. So that right there tells you, like, I can go out and get a GS-14 job or go work for DHS or do whatever I want. I am super qualified in an area of expertise. And I do not use it because not that I don't like that field, but that was never my passion. That was my job. And what I did for 20 years as a cop is I loved my job and I was educating myself on something that wasn't my passion.
I think that's how I feel. Hey, real quick, sorry, Chief. Shout out to Rochelle Hemingway for being in the comments, and please go check out her podcast, Slates to Success. You can check out the website. Go check out her podcast on LinkedIn as well. Seth Foster put up a question a while ago, and I want to go back to it. It said, Todd, you launched out there in COVID. You had to have faith, right? Were there doubts during the time that you shared?
Yeah, man, I was wearing plastic gloves like all of y'all, picking up my groceries from my front door. I had a lot of doubts. I mean, I thought the world was ending, to be honest with you. I mean, I just retired from the military 60 days ago, and now I'm locked in my house. You know, like, so did I have doubts in COVID? Absolutely. Absolutely, because I couldn't come outside and I couldn't go ask anyone. But you want to tell you what I did in COVID said is what I did, and all the listeners, I went out in a foreign area right here in DC, but I went out, and what happened in COVID is an untold story, and it's phenomenal. It's actually why Unpopular Celebrities is here.
Mm-hmm.
All of these podcasts started launching. All of these online quarantine universe, all of these things, people became familiar with online development or online connection and online networking because we didn't have a choice. So I started logging on to all of these things, and I started meeting people, and I became a little bit more, and I started reading, going to podcasts on starting your own business and all of this stuff. And honestly, because it was COVID and because the job that I was going into wasn't happening anymore, it gave me an opportunity to have, and then honestly, I looked at my finances. I'm gonna go back to that. If you're not planning financially for your second chapter, then you're not planning for your second chapter. Because everybody was talking about a job and getting a job. You can get a job. That's the least of my worries is anybody retiring and getting a job or separating and getting a job. The big worry is, do you put yourself in a position where you have to take a job you don't want? That's the difference. There's a complete, so for me, I put myself in a position that I could take the risk. Like I said, it wasn't a hero. I just financially did not have to go to work. And I knew I can give myself the time to build something out. And if it didn't work in 2 years, my quality of life wasn't going to change much. It just meant that I didn't work and got a regular paycheck for 2 years.
Dang. Chief, what you got? I can't hear you.
I don't.
There you go.
Yeah, because you have me muted, you dirtbag.
Because your background noise sounds like crap. I
don't hear nothing. It may not be me. It may be somebody else. Maybe it might be somebody else, right? I don't hear nothing. I don't hear nothing. Well, it ain't me. It's your janky promoter's equipment. Ty, I apologize for that moment. Sometimes that happens on this show. But since we're so far in the show, what I don't want to do is I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to get your thoughts on two things. First thing is when you mentioned about Pete's hip hop case. We've had a show about it in the past where he named like his top MCs. He mentioned some dude that's probably selling water bottles somewhere named Dak and some other people. So I'm curious to hear what your top 5 MCs are and your thoughts on that on Pete's. I call him Dak on Pete's choices of hip hop artists.
So I would tell you, I don't give my top 5 anymore. So this is where Pete got it from. So Pete used to work for me when he was a senior airman. So a quick story. And
God bless you.
Every Friday we used to have, it started out with just 5 of us in the office, and it turned into probably 15, 20 people coming to our office on Fridays, every Friday. And it was the top 10 list. And we debated it, and it was vigorous, right? And Pete messed up one day, and his bravery as a senior airman, and he wanted to give his top 10. And that was, you got to think how long ago this was. He was a senior airman. We have never allowed him to miss that. It was one of the worst hip hop I have ever heard in my life. But
that's surprising.
But you know what? That's another whole show, because my top 5 is so complicated, right? Because it's not just like roll off the tongue. It's like you have to give a encyclopedia of why it's your top 5, right? Because I believe why I don't do it anymore, because I don't believe anybody's capable anymore of giving a great top 5 list. Because I think what people are going to do is, they're going to go to hip hop, not the essence, right? Like a Rakim ain't never going to make somebody's top 5, but a Rakim is going to make my top 5 every time, right? It might, it's just it is, right? But then I have some controversy on some of y'all top 5 lists that always makes, right? I'm a little controversial on everybody. I'm just going to say it. I'm going to get in trouble, and we're going to pass one. I'm going to say this statement, and we're going to leave it alone. But everybody's top 5 is always going to have Biggie and Tupac on it.
Yeah.
Not mine. Not mine. Not mine. Nope. I mean, because I think in the end, it's not so much about it's to me, it's different criteria. When you say top 5, it could be your own personal top 5, how they resonated with you. And then you look at the industry top 5, what people expect for you to say based on how popular they are. And I mean, 9 out of 10, you're right. Todd's right. Usually people say Biggie or Pac. Some people throw in Nipsey Hussle. So instead of saying top 5, Todd, how about give me 5 of your favorite MCs in no particular order?
5 of my favorite MCs today will be Rakim. I've seen Rakim twice in the last 4 months. I think.
Wow.
I probably got to go see him again in a month. I think it's one of the most phenomenal opportunities you can get today. So today I'm different, right? So I would say Rakim is on one of my favorite lists right now. I would say Black Thought is on my favorite list right now.
Oh yeah, I go in the house.
I go see the Roots at the Kennedy Center every time they come. They only play.
Oh, so jealous.
Yeah, I want to be at the Roots picnic. Can't go. And I would say, recently that jumped back on favorite is Nas, because I've seen him in concert twice over the last year, and I can just appreciate the level that he's brought to that. From there, it's, and then it gets a little bit, it gets a little bit new. I'm a big fan of Rod Wave.
Oh wow,
who's that?
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm a big.
Look him up. Look him up.
I knew I was going to go south on you. I'm talking. You tell me what's right now.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm gonna have to look him up. Where I'm listening.
Said Foster, you about to get canceled. Foster, you about to get canceled.
and I would say if I would put the last on that, it's kind of a toss up where I'm at, day to day. But I would say right now, in my playlist, mostly. Man, it would have to be. It varies, but like for a minute, I was on some Jeezy when the first album came, and when his last album came out. So I put some Jeezy. I was on some Gotti. I'm from the South, so I got to keep a Southern in there. Every time Gotti drops something, I'm a fan. So in Moneybag, so that's probably a top out kind of my last on there where I'm at, because my playlist is probably going to derive from there. That's where I'm gonna be. That's what I'm gonna be.
Respect.
So I'm tracking with Nas, of course. Black Thought. He's definitely in the top 5, my top 5 of all time. Definitely Black Thought. The Rod Wave, I had to check that dude out. I'll pull up his picture. Yeah, he's a big boy.
What does
Yeah, he's
that
a-
mean? What does that mean?
You know, and then, you know, well, anyway, okay, whatever. But
Let me know. Let me know.
I'm gonna check him. I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah, Rob,
And then, and before I'll hold the last question because I want to take up too much of the time. Dale, you had something?
Oh yeah, my last question was what's something that drives you to stay motivated, especially like if you during the time of adversity. So after COVID, if you face adversity, what's something that you do to push through and maintain your integrity with yourself?
I will tell you, man, and I know he's probably not on here, but he likes shout outs. I'll give my homeboy Shane Pilgrim a shout out. But there's a book this is how it kind of put it into perspective how I live, man. Dan Sullivan wrote a book called The Gap in the Game, right? The Gap in the Game. And you can live in the gap or you can live in the game. I believe what keeps me motivated, to be honest with you, Dale, is something that kept me motivated my whole career, my whole life, is that I'm willing to see how far I came from yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how I've always visualized everything, is how far I came, not from 5 years ago, how far I came from yesterday. And that's living in the game. Living in the game is being, and living in the gap is an example of what he said. Like, this would be living in the gap. You know, I go out to dinner tonight with my wife and she's 10 minutes late getting ready. And we get in the car and she's 10 minutes late. And now I make it about we're going to be late for dinner. You were 10 minutes late. You always late. That's living in the gap.
Wow.
The gain is we both are healthy. We both can afford to go out to dinner. We both still together. That's living in the game. So when we live in the gap, we don't know how often we live in the gap every day. And we start saying, well, I don't have this, or he or she's doing better than me, or man, I wish I was doing this better. I don't live in that world. I live in the world of understanding that yesterday I gave it what I gave it. And today, at the very least, I woke up and I can get out the bed. From there, everything else is in the game. I don't get up and say my back hurting, my ankle hurting. Hell, it is hurting. I already know it's hurting. You know, that's a known. I don't need to dwell on it all day. So I think even from coming in the military, I mean, just a quick, you don't know me that well, but I came in the military with a 33 ASVAB score. I'm a high school dropout. I failed the 4th grade and 9th grade and dropped out of high school. You know, like I have a reading disability for years in the military. Today it still takes me a long time to read. I don't live in the sorrow of the gap. You know, I live in the game because if I can get past, I feel y'all are all defenders. I didn't fail more QCs than all of y'all put together. Y'all know if a defender is listening, they know how bad that is.
Yeah.
Bro, I might have the record of QC failure. I failed QCs in like 4 different chevrons.
Damn.
Well, was any of them criticals though? Were they criticals?
Yeah,
critical.
I don't know what that is.
100% failed Desert QC twice. I couldn't
oh, that's what's up.
Map to save my life.
Even
if I can get past the practical, even if I can get past the verbal in the written.
Oh man.
They would have alarm activations and all this stuff. I'll be dispatching with the best of them. As soon as that cat said,
"Oh man,
quick cordon on the bomb
pad," just evacuate the whole base. The whole base got.
Everybody, I'm serious, dead serious, man.
Oh man, that's funny.
My biggest fear as a flight chief, as a master flight chief, it would be that I real world had to plot and evacuate people from something that would require the wind to be involved.
I'm looking for fire chief.
Oh my God. Bro, you killing me. Oh God, you touching a nerve. I had the same fear, bro.
I mean, as a flight chief, man. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. This is real.
Oh man.
Responsibility, man. I was a master sergeant flight chief, 75.
Oh my head.
I had 6 tech sergeants on my flight. I used to have assistant flight chief. Right? You have assistant flight chief. That assistant flight chief had to ride with me. I made sure my assistant flight chief rode with me in the same vehicle every night.
Oh man.
I was like, man, I'm pretty good at leading people, but if they want me to plot some evacuation.
Hey, I known you for years, and I never knew plotting was your biggest fear. Like, if there's a plot phobia, I guess you got a plot phobia.
I have a plot phobia, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. When I finally made chief in security forces, and I knew that chiefs will never have to plot in the back. That's good.
He was good.
That's good, bro.
That's crazy.
Oh, my head is hurting, bro. Oh, my head hurts. This is funny as hell. Oh my god.
Hey,
oh man.
A go task.
I don't even know what the question was, Dale. We got all three.
You answered. Yeah, that was awesome. Appreciate it.
Oh man, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
My head hurts, man. That's so hilarious,
you know
man.
What? Only defenders can appreciate
that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You being real.
I know there's fire department somewhere going crazy right now. Like these defenders don't know how to plot. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do.
Hey, you know what? And I know we running over time, but my second fear, let me tell you, back in the day, I spent a lot of years in USAFE and PACAF. So we used to always go to Creek Defender, regional training, or Commando Warrior. Back in the day, you just have to go. Even if you were not deployed, you had to go. Man, let me tell you, I probably got the record, because I've been to Commando Warrior more than Creek Defender. I probably got the record of cannot plot myself out of the woods.
I know you was happy when GPS came out.
Yeah.
So GPS on the phone came out. You was like, they talking to you.
They talking about resection, and intersection.
Yeah, that wasn't your God, yeah.
Austin said he's going
Sam wouldn't know about that. Engineers don't know how to plot navigation either. So Sam don't need to know about that.
Straight to SMS.
Hey, you about to expose some people.
Right. Hey, that 10% QC about to go up when people will be mad. That starts spelling left and right.
I live with no shame. I have no shame. It's just it's something that my brain just didn't allow me to connect with.
Oh man. It was nothing more depressing than you haven't exercised the time. You remember they would throw like 4 or 5 scenarios at once, just to, as a flight chief. And like, oh, you had a assault here, DUI at the gate. Oh, the bomb threat is coming. Wind threat 270 degrees. You're applying everything, and you're thinking you're good. They say, hey, assault is good, DUI is good, bomb threat is good, except I said 270 degrees. You set somebody down the wind. You killed everybody. You failed. You be like,
yeah. It's a wrap.
To be true, I think it was a fear, but I could get through it. I could do it, but I was always fearful, right? Like, I didn't get through it easy. I'm just going to say that.
Oh man! Oh, my head hurts. Oh my head.
And shout out to Dale. I know Dale go crazy because Dale used to be QC, so I know Dale go crazy right now. It's like. He would have got that failed letter real quick. That failed memo would have went straight to the chief. Like, you need to put a new flight chief up. Like, he ain't gonna be certified after this. But yo, shout out to Dale, because Dale at Luke, he got rid of all that 20 exercises for one QC. He was like, we're going 2 or 3 things, and that's it. He didn't do the world was ending QC. So shout out to Dale, man, for taking a lot of stress relief off of people.
Oh yeah.
What
real world stuff.
Yeah, Chief, what you looking all crazy for?
0 incidents.
Yeah. Yo, your mic is all messed up. Your mic is all messed up. Oh, there you go.
You probably messed up something. You have a nuclear explosion, bomb threat, assault,
we ain't got all
that stuff.
Nah, we ain't got all that no more.
That's back in the day. That's back in the day.
You got a gate runner, a code 12, and maybe a shoplifting. And that's just paperwork only. Hey, have a good day. Certified.
Hey, was you ever a death sergeant?
Yeah. Certified.
I can't believe that.
Certified.
They must have gave you know how QC sometimes know you're so bad, but you failed twice and they just gave you like, oh, you just passed. That was peak.
Look, I was good on the mic. I just wouldn't write nothing down. That was my problem. I was just trying to hold everything up here and just try to ride with it.
Oh, my head.
I sent people to build
Oh,
1150. It was
man.
building 5011. I was like, oh my bad. Maybe I should have wrote that down. Yeah.
Oh
it
man,
was
my
bad.
head hurts. This is funny. Hey, so I hate to bring the mood down, man, but I really wanted to kind of talk about what occurred a couple of days ago involving one of our very own rest in peace Sea Airman Roger Fortson, young Sea Airman out of Herbert Field. So obviously there've been a lot of different comments across social media, people changing their profile pics, kind of putting his face up there. Obviously he's one of our own, and obviously he's a son to a mother as well. So we've had these stuff happen in our country for quite some time. It just seems like every time we think we're going down the right direction to make change, another one of these incidents happen. So I hate to put you on the spot, Todd, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts if you have any concerning what happened with Sea Airman Fortson.
Oh, absolutely concerning. And I think, DC, I don't think he's bringing the move. I think it's a good way probably to end the show. And, I'm never at a loss for words, but I'll be honest with you, just like many people, man, I've been struggling with this, man. I mean, I think, I've been struggling a lot with this. I mean, this happened last Friday, so we're at day 8. And I think on Thursday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday is when it really started getting, steam within the Air Force or steam within the news media. And I won't even give it credit as getting steam in the news media because it did not get what I think the attention that it should have, right? But I've been struggling with this because this is not a representation of anyone but myself. I struggle with this because, and I'll just be totally transparent, I did not change my picture profile or anything because I struggle with this to the point, and similarly to George Floyd 4 or 5 years ago, when a group of us, I was right out of uniform, and a lot of people in uniform, men, we were on a group text, and we were obviously feeling similarly to what we're feeling right now, and we talked about a lot of things. And for me personally, this isn't, I've been around a long time, just like you, DC. I mean, that's not a job. We've been around long enough to know that even when I came to the military, and I'll be totally transparent, why I struggle with this, because this isn't new. This is every day. And this is every day historically for many, 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 many years. Hundreds of years, and it has taken on different evolutions and different phases. My grandfather's life was taken unfairly, right? I've been pulled over as a military member, and this is why I struggle. I want to be deliberate about what I'm saying. I'm a Black man. I'm American. I'm from the South. I grew up in a 99.9% Black community, right? My first time really being integrated into the world of understanding from what my mom and everybody has told me, really living out these things, was when I joined the military. And I was talking to my wife last night, and I'm telling you, I'm struggling with this. And I told my wife, I was just reflecting, and I was like reflecting back on my first racial incident in the military. And it was back when I was still an airman basic, and no, that was BMT was my first, but my second real one in the actual operational Air Force was, and I'm not blaming, this is not representative of the Air Force as an institution because I don't believe the institution, sometimes I think it's people, right? And choices that people make. So my first incident was I was on elite gate guard section, and I remember I was the only person of color on the elite, because there only was 12 of us. And I remember senior airmen back then, when senior airmen were in longer than they are now and being in charge. The senior airman was in charge of the elite gate guard section. He was a long sergeant, and he was from a part of the country. And he came and told me, I guess I could appreciate at least he being honest with me. It was Thanksgiving, and he said he was going to invite all the airmen to his house, but he said, "Hey, you understand? You're from South Carolina. You understand why I can't invite you to my house, because my mom is coming, and my mom my mom is racist. So I can't invite you to my house." And I was 18 years old, and I was like, I guess it was the first time that I really realized that the word uniform don't always mean, it means we just wear the same uniform. not everybody in this uniform is not going to think the same, and not everybody in this uniform, and brother and sisters, words we use, because I think in the end of the day, when someone's shooting at us and wearing a foxhole, that's survival, and nobody cares what color you are. Maybe day to day when we're sitting around with a soda, maybe you do care what color I am when the bullets are not flying. And that was a powerful message for me that I carried my whole career. And it wasn't a second or third or fourth or sixth or seventh time I'd experienced it. So let me fast forward. How do I feel? I'm conflicted, DC, because just like, I think George Floyd for my entire career was the biggest racial reckoning kind of thing that has happened in my generation in this country. And I happen to live in DC. My, at the time, 19-year-old daughter, who was probably, I learned more from then than I've ever learned from anybody. She had me go down to Black Lives Matter Plaza. We went down there doing she wanted to be a part of that. So of course I'm going to go with her. And I'm just glad I went. I was glad at what I saw. I was glad the experience that I had. But then 4 years later, and I went and looked back up like every year, and I'm guilty of this. I asked myself, DC, what have I done since then? I asked myself, I was out there. I changed my Facebook photo from George Floyd. I supported everything. I was angry. I was mad. I was pissed. And I couldn't remember when I got over it, because I obviously did. So when this young man, senior airman, AFSOC airman, honor student, doing all the right things, lost his life, I really reflected on what to be honest with you, DC, what the hell am I going to do 90 days from now after I'm pissed off? And that's a me. I started this off saying this is about me. I'm not poking holes in anybody. I'm asking myself, and that's what I'm struggling with right now, DC. Like, I've been through this 4 years ago when this is the first time my generation where we have felt it so bad. We've all known these incidents to happen to people, and we've heard about them on news. We can name all the other folks' names that we can ring here that has happened in the last decade. But that one felt different, and this one feels different. And why this feels so different is because you can see yourself in this person. You came in for a better life. You were 18-year-old. You graduated from high school. You wanted to do the right thing. You were in communities that maybe not wanted you in this community, and you sucked it up, and you went through it, and you achieved, and you deployed, and you got medals, and you end up dead. And I think that's why this feels different. And for me, I'll just be totally honest. I don't know how to I don't have a good answer for you of how to process that right now. I don't have a good answer because I'm fearful that in 120 days, there will not be a picture of this young man anywhere else. Fearful that this young man may have lost his life, and we're missing a moment to have the real conversations from the racial disparity report that the Air Force has already said that's a problem. I'm fearful that this will not be the moment where people sit down and have the most uncomfortable conversation of their life and say, hey, Dell, how is it being a man of color in this country? How do you feel when you get stationed in a community where no one looks like you? How does it feel when you walk into a squadron and you are only 7 of the 100 people in that squadron who look like you? How does it feel to be an airman and no one in your squadron is an NCO, senior NCO, or chief or commander that look like you? How does it feel? Do you ever feel left out? Do you ever have anxiety that you're putting your faith in your performance reports in the people that you just got this hair standing up on back of your neck that may not have your best interests in mind? Is it just me telling myself a story that I busted my ass this year, but I didn't win any awards and I didn't get the opportunities, but I can see someone else that may have? Am I telling myself a story, or is it true? Right? No one is willing to want to have those conversations. And actually, the conversation is not the power. The action that comes from the conversation is the power. We're not having conversations that's turned into action. And the thing that bothers me more than anything, my mom is, a child of the civil rights movement. I was stationed at Montgomery, Alabama twice. And I'm sorry if I'm taking a long time on this, but you asked me. I was stationed in Montgomery, Alabama twice. I love that city. Both of my grown daughters live in Birmingham, Alabama, another civil rights historic city, and they live there by choice. My daughter went to the University of Alabama, where the governor stood on the front steps and said segregation forever. And she had a choice to go to all kinds of other schools, and she's not from the South, and she's never grown up in the South, but I'm proud that she is a graduate from that school and stood on those same steps where nobody wanted her to come there just a few years ago. When I say a few years ago, that history isn't a long time ago. So I will end with this. What I want to see from this DC, from this young man's death, is I want us to finally realize that we are not consistent and we're not sustainable in our rage and anger and dysfunction and disagreement. Why I brought up Montgomery, Alabama, if you go back to the Montgomery boycott in the 60s, if you've never looked that up or know the history of it, for 54 weeks, which is a year and 2 weeks, the whole Black community of Montgomery, Alabama refused to ride the Montgomery public bus system. 54 weeks later, they bankrupted the Montgomery public transit system, and that's what change happened. That's the only reason that they finally said, Uncle, we got to let y'all ride anywhere you want to ride on the bus. The Civil Rights Act lasted for decades. Over 1,000 people more, that's just what we kind of count, lynched, killed, disappeared, beat up, spit on, bit by dogs. They lasted decades to get change. My fear of myself is, why can't I, and I'm not pointing this in it, why can't I sustain the anger, the dysfunction, the disagreement? Why can't I sustain that for 90 days, 120 days? Why can't I be angry about this next year? Why can't I be somewhere where I can start invoking change around the people that are around me? Why we stop talking about this so quick?
Mm-hmm.
I'm fearful about the outcome, and I'll stop with this, of this young man's tragic death to never be what he can be, will be someone putting his name on an award or someone putting his name on a plaque and naming a conference room after him. Not that that's not an honor, but that's not deserving of his sacrifice. His sacrifice is deserving of the people around him to be able to say enough's enough. And I'm going to be angry until change happens. I'm not only going to be angry until it's now the next person that we put up on our Facebook post, the next person that we get to say that is dead for no reason, the next national news story, the next time we get the march and then we go home after 30 days. What are we going to do? And I'm not, and I said it for the third time, this isn't poking holes. You ask me how I'm dealing with this. I'm struggling, brother. I'm struggling internally because I'm looking out my window. I live in a super nice neighborhood. I got nice things. I can go on vacation anywhere around the world. I grew up not being able to do any of those things, but at least, I don't live in shame, but I felt shameful the last couple of days because I'm like, man, I'm doing all these great things and I got all these great things, but I can't tell you the last time I mentioned a George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the last time I went down the Black Lives Matter. I can't tell you the last time I looked up an event in DC that was talking about civil rights or justice or anything. I can't tell you that. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna look you now and I can't tell you I did anything. So for me, I felt like I could not consciously in good conscience for myself, go out here and say anything but I'm not doing enough. I couldn't say anything else. And if I couldn't say anything else but that, I chose not to say anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because me not saying anything right now is the same as last Thursday before this young man lost his life on Friday. I wasn't saying anything then.
Mm-hmm.
And if I said anything yesterday, can I say something next week? So what I'm going to end with, it's not that I'm staying silent. I'm figuring out what I can commit to. And once I figure out what I can commit to, the same way I commit to every morning at 5 o'clock getting up for my business, the same way I get up every day focusing on my health and working out, the same way I get up every day and worrying about my 2 girls in Birmingham and who is safe and who's not, I need to know what I can commit to as an African-American man who's lived 48 summers, who's been through life, who's lived all over the world, who has resources. What can I commit to for my community? And until I understand what I can commit to, I need to stay silent. Because when I do speak, you need to hold me accountable for the rest of my life for that.
Yeah, I love when you mention consistency, Todd. I think that's an important point, because what you don't want to do is wait for something to happen, and then all of a sudden you want to, post something or talk about it. And I get it. Some people, and this is just coming from me, some people may feel like they maybe are powerless or not know what to do in order to affect change. But you've got to start somewhere. And what we don't want to do is wait for something like this to happen to kind of push the envelope. I think we all can make an impact. You mentioned earlier about just being angry, and I mean in a constructive way. If there are ways to, through voting or through legislature, to kind of change the policies of how the police department moves and how they operate, then we need to do it. Or just realize, even if you're a supervisor who is not African American, just to recognize the fact this stuff does and continues to happen. I mean, this young man, Air Force member of the Special Operations Community, Special Mission Aviator, somebody's son, somebody's brother, they go through something like this. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to my two boys who are grown men, and it can happen to us. And whether you're African American or not, there's ways we can try to find some way to change the legislation or protest in order to prevent this from happening again. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I'll just leave it at that. Everything was well sped, well spoken, and I'll just leave it at that. Dale, do you have anything before we end it out?
No, yeah, ditto. Appreciate you, Todd.
Yeah, I'll say I'll go first with the shout outs and the closing comments. Gonna be hard to say. Todd, I appreciate you coming on here. Of course, I appreciate the friendship. I appreciate the mentorship. I appreciate all your posts that you send, whether motivational or not. I think I look at every single one. If not, I damn sure go back and check them out. But I appreciate you coming on here and dropping on nuggets, being vulnerable, talking about the plotting, talking about everything else that we talked about. But always got so much love and respect for you. Always be in your corner. Always unpopular celebrities here for you. Dale, go ahead.
Yeah, no, appreciate you taking your time on this Saturday. Dropping those nuggets and dimes. What's some social networks that people can follow you for the strangers out there?
I appreciate that. You were listening, Dale. So yeah, you can follow me. I'm on, I tell you, Todd, T-O-D-D Simmons. I always tell people, man, I always ask my mom why she named me Todd. And then I didn't even use that name my first decade in the military, but I used Maurice because I thought it was more, of who I wanted to be, right? That's my middle name, right? So I will tell you, yeah, you can find me at Todd Simmons on LinkedIn, on Facebook. If you pull up, why I say that, if you pull up a Todd Simmons, and it's probably going to be a lot of people who look like me. So it's probably 9 times out of 10, you got the right person. So, right. So Todd Simmons, Courageous Lead, our at Courageous Lead is all our company socials. So our website is Courageous Lead, courageouslead.com. Same thing on Twitter, X, but Todd T Simmons at X, and Todd Simmons on most other platforms. So looking for, I'm very responsive. Pete will tell you, if you hit me up on text or Facebook Messenger or LinkedIn Messenger or X Twitter Messenger, I respond, and it's me. I take that seriously to make sure that I respond to people who reach out. Now, it may not be in 2 minutes, but I will respond.
Awesome.
DC, go ahead.
So real quickly, yeah, I echo everybody's comments. Thanks for coming on, Todd, especially with your schedule and the things you're doing with your company. So spending your Saturday with us means a lot. And more importantly, for the honest conversation and everything you just dropped earlier, we really appreciate it. I'll just say this last thing and I'll be quiet. I admire the fact that even after retirement, to this day, your name echoes across the halls among different people. I mean, you're connected to so many people that has been impactful and still in the Air Force today. One that comes to mind, Malcolm Simmons. I mean, he speaks the world of you. Of course, us too, and myself included. You've always been an example for all of us. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you for still being connected to the Air Force and being able to help us even in another capacity. So thanks again for being here.
I appreciate
we
it.
always leave the last word to the guest. So Todd, bring us home. What you got?
I'm gonna be quick, and I'm actually gonna follow up what DC just said. Hey man, it's a struggle every day to try to, live your life. I don't say call me Todd because I hate my military career. I love my military career. Man, I love who I am now. I love being Todd Simmons. I love the freedom of that, but I am still connected to the military in some kind of way, right? And to be honest with you, DC, the last thing with the segment that we ended on with the untimely death of senior airman enforcement is we have a responsibility, man. And that's why I'm gonna end on is most days, and this is just me being vulnerable. Most days, I'm an introvert. Most days don't want to answer Pete texts. No, it's not. But I will always answer your text. I will always answer people's emails. I will always, because man, that's I hear people say this all the time. I'm not supposed to be here. And that's true in a lot of our lives, right? But why I say I live in the game, man, is because there are so many people around me who grew up with me who never had the opportunity. I had people at my retirement ceremony that were friends of mine from high school who served 9-10 years in prison. And some of these people throughout my military career always found my mom, always checked on my mom, always was asking about me, always saw something I was doing and would hit me up and say they proud of me. A lot of us come from communities where, unfortunately, still today, we're the only one, or we are part of a select few. And when we internalize what that means, man, it comes with a bigger responsibility. And sometimes our responsibility is not yours. And you just you got to be selfish, and you can't be selfish with it. So I didn't learn that till I retired, because I thought I retired, just go away and everybody leave me alone and I'm going fishing. But I do take that point you just said, DC, and I don't take it as a celebrity. I don't take it as being popular, because I'm an introvert and I can care less about any of that. What I care about is if I can show people who not necessarily have to look like me, white, black, whatever, but I can show people who all have the same kind of I don't believe I can story, or I should not because I was story. I believe that is my responsibility, to show you that there ain't nothing you can do. So that's why I try to be an octopus, have my tentacles in every single thing that I can, and try to be good at it. Because if I can be good at one of those things, it might be Dell might see like, well, hell, if he can do that, I can do it, because you can. It don't matter. You're looking at a dude who literally could not read when he joined the military. Why the hell am I writing books? So don't ever. So there's a lot of people that actually I'll go back to look like me that are serving in the military, and they're young men and young women who come from communities that all they were told is they can't. And sometimes just joining and going and graduating from BMT is the largest thing they have ever done in their life. It is our responsibility now to show them that was just step one to actually live in the life that you want. It's our responsibility. And you can't tell somebody that if you can't show somebody that. So I would end with, man, you guys are out here showing people what right looks like. You're out here showing that you can persevere, that you can have things that don't work and things that work, and you can have change that's effective, and you can have discord, and you can have all of these things. But it don't matter if it's one person or 1,000 people listening to y'all. Y'all are making a difference. So I appreciate, and I'm very proud of y'all for that. So thank you.
Appreciate it. Always appreciate the time. Appreciate the honor. Unpopular celebrities, y'all. See y'all in 2 weeks. We out of here. Valor Vacations. Go check it out. Get your vacation. No 40 days to use or lose. Start that campaign. No 40 days use or lose in June. Peace.